How's everyone doing? Excited? Welcome to the Clown Cafe.
Does it sound good?
It's great.
Do you hear it?
Can you hear it?
Alright. You ready?
Ready. Drop on by the Clown Cafe, your favorite meals on wheels. The menu is disgusting and it's full of special deals. Nothing here is good for you, so grab yourselves a tray, 'cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Gobble up your order quick before it runs away, 'cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Why not visit after school and have yourselves a bite? An appetizing appetizer certain to delight. We haven't done it right unless it makes your teeth decay, 'cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. The grub is downright gruesome, but your appetites obey, 'cause food's a little funny. Food's a little funny. Food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe.
All right, so let's bring them on out. All right, you guys know this is the cast of Terrifier 2. Let's come on, take some seats. We'll introduce everybody. Come on out. Look at that, at Spookala, we want to give you a little bit more for your money. I didn't even know that was happening until I got to the side of the stage, so how cool is that? All right, so instead of me introducing these guys, I'm going to let them go down the line, because some of you guys may not even know who they are from Terrifier 2, so why don't you start right here and go on down, introduce yourself and tell them what the character was that you are in Terrifier 2.
Hi, my name is Elliott Fullam, and I play Jonathan in Terrifier 2, Sienna's sister. I'm Sienna's brother.
That's a whole different movie you're talking about.
It's Glenn and Glinda over here.
Hey everyone, I'm LaVera and I play Sienna Shaw in Terrifier 2, Jonathan's sister.
What's up, everybody? Damien Leone, writer-director of Terrifier 2. What's up, y'all? You know who I am. It's me, Art the Clown. Taking that, Chris Pratt.
Hey everyone, my name is Leah Voysey. I'm the Clown Cafe singer and the nurse at the end.
All right, so we're going to get right down to it. This is a horror and darker side of culture convention. If you guys haven't seen Terrifier 2, one of the things it is known for is it is extreme. It is extreme, and one of the things that is very odd to me is normally when it's extreme, it means if you go look at a Rotten Tomatoes score, it is going to be like at 1, 0, something like that. This movie has got scores in the 60s to 80s, which is unheard of. So to the director, to Damien, why do you think it is that the movie is getting such high critical ratings right now, even though it is basically pushing itself out of the normal movie done because it's so extreme? How do you think it is that that's the case?
I think it has substance, honestly, and I think it has some great characters that the audience can really root for and empathize with this time around, especially these two, and their performances really just elevate the material. I think they were really great, and as opposed to the first movie, which was really just a showcase for art, just doing his thing, you know, this time I really wanted to tell a more intricate story and more compelling characters, and I think we did that.
All right, so to David and Art the Clown down here. So whenever we talk to any kind of person that plays these iconic characters, and you're basically the new guy on the block, so to speak, when you've got your Michael Myers and your Jason Voorhees and whatnot, you're the new guy on the block, but did you feel like, hey, I've really got to go to the next level so that even though I'm the new guy, these guys better know what's up because I might be the new guy, but I am the guy that's going to the front of the line right now? Like, how did you prepare to take it to that next level? If you guys want to, you can take these mics off the stands and just kind of hand them back and forth.
Hi. There we go. Well, I didn't really think of it that way when I took on the character. I was just like, he just sounds like a fun guy. And I was like, yeah, let's just have fun with this and see what happens with it. But I definitely looked at all the greats that came before me and like took inspiration from all of them, because I kind of look at art as being an amalgamation of all the slasher icons that came before him, from, you know, Michael Myers, Jason, Chucky, Freddy, of course, you know, Pinhead, Leatherface, all of them. There's bits and pieces of all of them inside of art. I kind of look at him as like a slasher fanboy himself. And he's kind of just modeled himself after these guys. And so that's what I did. And I was like, I hope people like what I do with it. Because I think that he's got like the quietness and that mincing nature of like Jason and, you know, Mike Myers, but he has that charisma and funness that, you know, Freddy and Chucky and all those guys have. So that's why I want to bring to him. And I think that's why it works so well. It's just like, there's a nice little balance in there.
All right, so you guys see up here, we do have the live mic that's in the front. I'm sure you guys have some questions you want to ask one or all of these cast members. Please go up here and start staging in front of the mic. When we have a chance, we're going to get to your questions. Because there are so many people on the panel, let's make sure we restrict it to one question. And if it's something that is only towards one person, let us know that. Otherwise, whoever wants to take the question can. So before we continue, the questions are, wow, that line just got big. Holy crap. Holy goodness. Yeah, so we're going to probably have to play speed round on some of these questions because that is a long line. So real quick now to Damien. So again, we talked about the extreme nature of the film, and it's gone viral with the things that have happened in movie theaters. And people have said, oh, maybe this is a marketing ploy. But even on the side of the stage, you're like, no, this is real. People are actually like passing out and puking and all that at the theater. And I'm sure there's a part of that that's like, hey, that's actually kind of funny, this is happening to people. But do you also, on the other side, say, hey, there's a little bit of a responsibility, maybe I went too far, or you're like, good, I want to go farther the next time?
Well, I look at it sort of like a badge of honor when I heard people were passing out and puking. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I didn't want people getting hurt. I was hearing stories of some guy passing out, like hitting his head on the back of someone's chair and things like that. I'm not trying to do that. But it's what, you know, it's what these movies are and what fans come to expect. You know, once we made the first one and we had the now infamous hacksaw scene, that's what people all the time, they come up to me and Dave and they talk about how much they love art and how much they love that scene. And how are you going to top it the next time around? Where do you go? And then trying to find inspiration and meet your expectations and hopefully rival it if we can. And I knew going into it, you know, we really pushed that scene as far as we could push it, the alley kill especially. And it's not typical that you see a film that's unrated in the movie theaters, a slasher, and you see a 4-minute kill scene, usually in a very bright room, and you just see everything happening. It's very rare. Usually it happens very quick, it happens in the shadows, it happens in the dark. So, you know, we like giving the audience something different that's going to stand out and get people talking.
So do you kind of see it as like for me, part of the reason why I'm kind of screaming shit about a movie like Hostel is because with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, those things are so completely fantasy that it just wouldn't happen in the real world. The reason why a movie like Hostel makes me scream is just I'm like, that crap probably happens right now every day. Do you kind of see it as these kills are so extreme, like especially like the one you're talking about, the bed kill? There's no way she would have been alive after the first 60 seconds. Do you see, hey, this is like art. We're just trying to like see how far we can take it, make sure we make these special effects work. Do you see it in that respect, or do you be like people shouldn't see this as reality?
Well, I want the kills to be very effective. I don't want people laughing at them. I want them to be intense. Like it's when it's Art's time to like do his thing. I want the audience to kind of like, you know, take their breath away. It's like, oh wow, we're not really having a good time. now, but the overall tone of the movie is very fantasy-laden. So that's sort of, I was hoping that would give us a bit of a pass. You know, the first 2 minutes of the movie, you have this clown resurrected from the dead, so it's like, all right, we're clearly not in the real world. So hopefully that was giving us a little bit of a pass when we were, you know, exploring some of that really extreme violence, where at the end of the day, you know, you have a fucking this angel being resurrected and this glowing sword and all these things. You know, you leave the theater and you say, well, you know, it's we're having fun. This is fantasy. This isn't the real world, and the world isn't so bleak when you leave the theater like an experience like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or something like that. That's not the movie we were trying to make.
Right. Okay, well, you know what? We've got a humongous line out here, so I could sit here and talk to you guys for the whole panel, but I want to make sure these guys get a chance to get their questions asked. So, all right, in the front, what is your name? What is the question you have? And if it's directed at any specific cast member, make sure we know who it is.
Yeah, my name is Brian. This is for both Damien and the cast. And one of the things I loved about Terrifier 2 is you guys used practical effects, mostly, instead of using CG. So, Damien, as a director, what is the benefits and advantages of using practical rather than using CG? And for the rest of the cast, how do you think it benefits your performance when you actually get to see what's going on in front of you rather than sitting there and then you can look at it later on in CG?
Well, that's a great question.
I still think the audience can tell when it's real, when it's really happening on screen with the actors in the room, especially CGI blood is so noticeable and they haven't quite figured that out yet. But I grew up loving practical effects. That's how I got into filmmaking when I discovered Tom Savini, and I was just obsessed since I was a kid and just loving getting my hands on latex and fake blood and wax and, you know, making cuts on my friends and freaking out their parents. So I still get such a rush and so much joy, you know, seeing the real thing and really watching this guy stick his hands in a fake body and mess around with real intestines, and and seeing him gag as Art the Clown. Yeah.
Well, I did gag too. It was the night I was having to dig into the chest, because they put all these innards in there, like gross stuff, and they had bones in there too. And it's a good thing they weren't running sound, because I'm over there going, oh God, it's so cold and gross and smelly. And I had dinner right after that, so I had all this gunk all over my hands. I'm like, oh God, this is where I die. I'm gonna get like everything. This is great. But yeah, I mean, that's what I love about the practical effects though, because I've done movies with both CG blood and practical effects. I much prefer the practical, because you have something to interact with and play off of, and that's more fun, I think. Though it's very cold and sticky. I had the night where I had so much blood on my hands, I could not even let go of the club that I was using to kill my victim with. They had to pry it out of my hands.
Yeah, it's absolutely more beneficial to see the practicals, and CG is great, but it feels like assisted acting. You know, we don't have to do as much work. We can just live truthfully in the moment and be like, what the fuck are we looking at? And yeah, it's absolutely helpful. And I was also just floored by the creativity and the innovativeness behind Damien and Phil and Jackie, who were all doing the practicals. It was just a wild experience, and I'm super grateful for it.
I'm definitely a big practical effects fan. I was already a fan of the first Terrifier before I even saw the audition, and I was already a huge fan of Damien's work with practical effects and his makeup, and it definitely, without a doubt, helps to see it there in person.
Yeah, I second what everyone was saying. Practical effects, for me, in horror films, I think it just amplifies it so much, not just for the actors, but for the viewers as well. The experience is just so much better.
All right, good stuff. Thanks a lot. All right, next person coming up to the mic. What's your name and what is your question? You can actually pull it down. There you go.
Hi, I'm Wanda. Damien, you know, you wrote it, you created it, took a few years to get it done. At what point did you realize, like I saw it on October 6th, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be huge. At what point did you realize this is going to blow up?
Listen, I really always believed in it. You know, I would tell them from the start, I was like, I really think we have something special here. And I really, especially with her, like we both loved Sienna's character. And she's so special to us, and we put so much care into that character. But listen, once, you know, Stephen King started tweeting about us, and I woke up one morning. Yeah, I woke up one morning, I look at my phone, and it's like almost a text message from everyone I've ever met in my life. And they're like, dude, Howard Stern's been talking about you for like an hour. I'm like, what? So like that was wild. And that was after the first weekend where the reports of people passing out and were coming out. And then it really went viral for like 2 weeks. And again, it also wasn't supposed to be in the movie theater, so we had no expectations for that. It was only supposed to play in a couple of theaters like over the course of a weekend, and then before you know it, it's like number 4 in the box office. Absurd things. So
we were all going back and seeing it again.
Yeah, and you guys just keep on going. It's amazing. You guys, it's all because of you guys. I say this all the time. Even the whole journey, it's just been so organic, and there's never been marketing behind Terrifier, no financial push, nothing. It's just all word of mouth. It's people just scrolling through Netflix and they say, oh, you know, I didn't know what Terrifier was. I saw the picture of this clown. I said, I gotta check that out. They checked it out, and then they just start telling their friends, and it's just, that's all it's been, even with part 2. Like, people didn't know it was in the movie theaters. Like, there's just the hardcore fans going and supporting it all the time. So we love you guys, seriously.
All right, next person coming up to the mic. What's your name? What's the question? Who's the director now?
I'm Jeff. Elliott, my fellow metalhead, you give me hope for the generation. Shout out to your parents. Great parenting. Been a fan of your YouTube videos, you know, all the metal interviews for a few years. So that's a segue into my question. Did that lead to opportunities to be cast, or how did you end up being cast for the film?
Well, actually doing that YouTube channel and doing interviews and stuff, which I still do them here and there, helped me get into a talent agency because it showed that I was comfortable in front of the camera. So that helped me give me confidence to go in front of someone and act out. So then I've just been doing auditions and auditions and auditions, and then eventually it did lead to Terrifier, but I auditioned through Terrifier.
What's he like on the set? Is he a class clown?
Are you the class clown on the set?
No, I would say the clown over there is the class clown.
Da-da-ching! That was funny. All right, good stuff. All right, next person, come on up to the mic. What's your name? What's your question? Who's it directed towards?
Hi, my name is Becca. I just want to say there is such a great cast of characters that you created here, and I definitely have more than one question, but I'm going to play by the rules. So, Art, you were the only character that you actually had been developed prior to Terrifier. You were coming in for All Hallows Eve, and what was that like? What was your method there? What did you look at that character, say, this is what I want to keep, this is what I want to add to it to just make it what we know and love today?
Yeah, that was definitely a daunting task for me because I'm a fanboy myself of like the Joker and characters like that. So I'm very particular when someone else takes over the role after someone else has played it very well. And I was like, oh God, this is all gonna come back and bite me in the butt now. And I was like, because like Mike Gianelli, who was original art in All Hallows Eve, did a fantastic job. And I was like, boy, he made it easier for me to go in and create this character because he set a great foundation for me. But what I wanted to bring more to was my physicality, because I have a background in doing physical comedy for like years and years and years on stage. And since Art is a clown, I wanted to add more of that clowning aspect to the character, because I think horror and comedy go very well together. And I thought bring more of a comedic nature to him, but also vicious and creepy nature at the same time, would set him apart from a lot of other characters that are already out there. And so I just drew from my previous experiences doing work on stage, especially from my good friend Stephen Carl, who many know as Robbie Rotten from the show Lazy Town. He passed away back in 2018 from cancer, but I was his understudy for 5 years with How the Grinch Stole Christmas the musical as the Grinch. And he was a master at physical comedy, and he really helped me fine-tune my skills. And I was fresh off of Grinch going into art, and so I contacted him when I got cast with him. Like, hey dude, I'm playing this like silent Mr. Bean type of character. Can you give me some like tips? And he gave me some great advice and everything like that, and I just applied what he had taught me over these years to the character, and I think it worked out well. I felt, I feel like in a way we got to take the character to a new level, and we keep it. with all these films, we keep adding more and more elements to him, and that's what I'm loving going on this journey with him still. There's so many things I'm still discovering about him. So I can't wait to see what we do for part 3, if that happens.
It's horror movies, you know what's going to happen. Come on. All right, next person. Come on up. What's your name? What's your question? Oh, I know this guy. All right, what's your name? What's your question?
My name is Justin. I'm a little hoarse. Thanks for the movie. Dethroned Evil Dead is my favorite horror series now, so that's cool. Is there a scene in the movie you guys shot each that you really enjoyed making? Like, everyone, like each one of you guys, or something you guys enjoyed doing more than something else?
So is there a scene in the movie that you guys liked making? I guess this is going to go straight down the line. So what was your favorite scene in the movie that you really enjoyed actually being a part of?
I really liked firing the gun. Because, I mean, everyone got very bloodied up and stuff, so that was like I got some couple little scrapes, but luckily Jonathan didn't get too many scrapes. But yeah, firing that gun was definitely...
Yeah, you didn't want to mess up the moneymaker right there, you know what I'm saying?
That's always good hearing that a teenager enjoyed firing a gun.
It's hard to say because there were a lot of scenes that I really enjoyed. I loved being physical in this role. I got to do most of my own stunts, so Dave was really throwing me around and I was throwing him around and I was throwing over shit. It was a lot of fun. But I also really enjoyed the Clown Cafe. I got to watch people get set on fire. And I was like, that's awesome. Real people, real stunt performers and Phil were being set on fire. So it was, yeah, I mean, everything was amazing, but probably the more physical stuff.
Yeah, I have to agree. The Clown Cafe, we were the most nervous because it was the most ambitious scene, and I was dreading going into that, and it turned out to be the smoothest days on set for some reason. I think it was just because we really had to be on the ball because there was a lot of safety issues, and we had paramedics and fire and stunts. So, but it was just so fun, and we were in this really surreal world for a few days, and nobody knew what the hell was going on. You have her singing this song. It was wild. It was so cool, and it was so different than anything we'd done in Terrifier 1. So seeing that happen, I knew we had something different, and it was exciting.
Yeah, Clown Cafe, I will say, was one of my favorite scenes as well. But I want to add, since everybody else is saying that, I will say it was fun firing the Tommy gun and the flamethrower. That was like childhood dreams realized. But I also really enjoyed doing the costume shop scene. I had so much fun doing that. That was just like they're probably a movie's worth of outtakes from that scene alone, because he really let me just play and go crazy with those glasses and all the props that were around me. I had I went down like basically that whole entire side of glasses and did different things, all those different glasses. I was like, that's every comedian's dream come true, is just to go in and play with props like that. I had like whoopee cushions I was playing with, just all this fun stuff, and it was also nice because it was nice and warm and comfortable inside there, and they had a cat that I could play with in between takes, and so this is like great. I liked it.
Well, not to say what everyone else said, but I don't have any choices. The Clown Cafe it was incredible, like they had all been shooting for months and months and months, and you could tell it was just like this family atmosphere, and everyone was so nice and kind, and I was coming into it fresh, not really knowing that many people. I knew a few, and I felt like I was welcomed, everyone was just so nice, and getting to see the fire effects and how all of that gets done, just as someone who likes behind the scenes work and how practical effects get done with all the blood and the gun and the fire, that was just so cool for me, like as a fan of making films, and then also I love to sing, so I got a really cool part.
So Leah,
yes.
This is interesting. So many of you probably don't know this, but the ending you see now, the post-credit sequence where Victoria gives birth to Art's head, that's an alternate ending. So originally we shot something else that she had a completely different.
And I got like all bloodied up, and
tell them about that.
I've never gotten like done any sort of like blood effects before, but it was like all running down my hands and all over my chest.
Yeah, to tell them what the scene. They have no idea what happened originally.
Can I explain it? Okay. So initially what happened is me and Chris Jericho are sitting at the desk, and we hear a scream, and we run out, both of us run out, we go into her room, and she's holding the back of her head, and she's like, oh, my head, it hurts, and I'm coming in, I'm like, it's okay, don't worry, I got you, let me see. I grab the back of her head, and my hand gets stuck, and I start screaming, help me. I pull my hand away, and I'm missing all my fingers. And Art the Clown's head was coming out of the back of her skull. And that's originally what happened. So it was...
And then, so we shot that, and then about 2 months later, I got a call from my friend. He goes, dude, have you seen Malignant yet? I'm like, no, why? He goes, check out the ending. He goes, we are fucked. And I'm like, oh no, my heart sank. And like, I went home and watched it, and it was the exact same thing we did. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, there's no way we can do this now. We can't put this out, because everyone's going to say we clearly ripped that off. And then I didn't know if he was just going to cut it out and worry about it in, part 3 or something like that. And then I really got to give credit to where it went to Olga, who was our production designer. And me and her were just going back one day, texting each other, trying to come up with other ideas. And she's like, have it, where other places his head could come out of. She goes, why don't you do that? And we both just started laughing. We're trying to gross out each other. And then I stopped, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's brilliant. She's like, she's going to give birth to Art. I'm like, no, just his head. It's going to be fucking perfect. So, and then...
Yeah, I think the new one was better. I honestly think you outdid yourself.
All right, so I want to make sure every one of you guys gets a chance to get your question asked. So just to make sure, just for the spirit of time, make sure you've got a question just directed at one person, so that way we can make sure everybody that's in that line gets a chance to get their time at the mic. So next person up, what's your name? What is your question? And who is it for? One person.
My name is Nicholas, and it's for...
Hope come up a little bit closer because the mic's not picking you up.
My name is Nicholas. My question's for David. What was the hacksaw scene like filming in the first one?
Cold. Very cold.
Facial expressions made it so great.
Yeah, that room was freaky too, because we filmed the hacksaw scene in different locations and over 2 months, I think, because we filmed all the stuff with Jenna Cannell first because she had to go film the Bye Bye Man, and then we left that location for another location on Staten Island in an abandoned part of a mental hospital. And I think it was the furnace room where they burned bodies or something like that. This room was gross. And it was condemned, we learned later on too. And so when you see that chunk of the ceiling fall down, that was real. And we're like, holy shit, did we get that on video? That was awesome. But oh my shit. But it was very cold. It was 20 degrees that night, and we had no heat in there. And I'm like, I know I was cold, but I really felt sorry for Catherine, who played Dawn, because she's exposed, and she's covered in blood, upside down. So it was that was a nerve-wracking night because the safety issues that we had to deal with her, and we all would just want to make sure she was as comfortable as possible. And we only had 30 seconds at a time basically to film because we could only let her hang upside down for so long, because it's very dangerous. But then another day we came in and we filmed me actually cutting through the actual prosthetic, and that was a lot of fun. But we had an ubu that night too, because we were supposed to film that 2 weeks prior, but the room got flooded one day. And we had the intestines prepared. It was just sausage casings with fat. And George didn't refrigerate them. Yeah. So we open it up, and she's like, whoa. And stupid me accidentally cut through one of the intestines at one point with a hacksaw, so all that stuff just goes out. It's that's when I finally smelled it through my prosthetic, and I'm like, oh God. It was rank.
So much.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, next person. What is your name? What's your question? Who is it directed to?
Hi, my name's Natalie, and my question is for Damien. If you could have a Freddy versus Jason style battle between Art the Clown and another horror character, who would you choose?
Good question. It would be Art versus Freddy, just because I think they both have similar senses of humor, and I'd love to see the two of them play off of one another. And especially Art's starting to go in a more supernatural territory now. I think that would be pretty cool. I'd love to see them either team up or...
I was just going to say, that sounds like a team up right there.
Would be amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Art and Freddy.
Martin Lewis.
Hello, I'm Jessica. My question is for Damien as well.
You kind of answered my main question, but I just want to say that Terrifier movies are my favorite thing in the entire world right now.
Oh, thank you.
And I love how you pulled some stuff out of Hollow Z to bring that art into your new movies, and I didn't even realize it until I watched it again, so that was brilliant. But my main question was, were you working on a third one? But obviously you are. Do you know about when that's going to start?
Oh, I'm writing part 3 right now. I started a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome.
Yeah,
we're really looking forward to that.
Thank you. Yeah, but I already know what it is from start to finish, so it's just a matter of putting the pieces together. So.
I can't wait. And thanks for your tips yesterday. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next person, come on up. What's your name? Who's the question directed to? And what's the question?
Hello, my name is Sarah, and I have a question for Damien. The whole movie is, I feel like, I mean, you can confirm this or not, it's like a whole big love letter to like 80s, like slasher, gory, exploitation type, very intense movies, and that's like my favorite type. I love them. But what's your like favorite one?
There's so many, but
there
are 2 blatant homages to one of my favorites is Maniac, and the scalping scene when he scalps Allie. That was a homage to that, and also the shotgun when he kills Sienna's mother. It's like my reverse Maniac scene. You know, it's going from inside the car out now. Because I love Tom Savini, so I got to pay tribute to him.
Awesome, great, thank you.
All right, next person, come on up. What's your name? Who's it directed to? What's the question?
My name is Donnie. For Damien.
What's up, buddy?
Out of both Terrifier movies altogether, they're full of gory, horrifying, creepy shit. My question to you is, was there any part in both of those movies combined where it just freaked you out?
Yeah, when I was home editing the bedroom scene from part 2, I just remember cutting that scene and listening to Allie scream with no music or anything, but just for hours when I was editing that, just over and over, and I literally got lightheaded. I remember like calling him up, and I was like, Jesus, dude, I'm cutting this scene. It's fucking intense. Like I literally got lightheaded before. I'm like, people are gonna freak out when they see this. So I knew when it was taking shape, I knew we were doing something really insane. Yeah.
Probably also my naked butt being shown in the laundromat scene too.
Oh, stop that.
Stop, that was gross. I'm sorry.
All right,
exactly, warning.
All right, next person, what's the name? What is the question? And who's it directed towards?
Hi, my name's Quentin, and my question is for Damien. I was wondering, what is the most difficult practical effect that is in any of the movies you made, not just Terrifier movies? What was the most difficult one to do or pull off?
Wait, was that the most difficult?
What was the most difficult practical effect to pull off?
I think building the Allie puppet, the full body puppet that wakes up on the bed, because we did that all practically. Me and my producer Phil had to build that. We molded her body. But then I had to figure out how to articulate it, and I don't really know much about animatronics, so we just used these really crude methods. The entire room was a set, so we had people under the bed with rods going into her limbs, just like making her leg move up and down, and we had like rubber gloves in her chest with a tube, and someone was blowing into the tubes, making her chest breathe and things like that. But then like there's these little cool, tricks that we use with visual effects, because I do like to use visual effects, but like very subtly. So when we have that body wake up, you see her eye open, and that's just putting the actress's eyeball, tracking it onto that head, and then, it's like, whoa, what am I looking at, And it's such an easy trick, and you're not going overboard with the visual effects. Like most people have no idea that's a visual effect. Even when she says, Mom, that's a completely separate puppet that we have a spring in the mouth and some kind of like wire just pulling, making the jaw open and close, and then we digitally put the actress's eye on the head. So I was the most proud of that, seeing that body come to life. It was cool.
Yeah, it was incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next person, come on up. What's your name? Who's it directed towards? What's the question?
Hello, my name is Cadence.
Hello.
And I really want to know how you came up with The whole movie.
The whole movie.
That's like a whole panel in and of itself.
I'll just say real quick how I came up with Art the Clown. It was just this little idea I had when I was a young man, just trying to come up with creepy ideas, and I wanted to make my first short film, and I just had this little idea of a clown terrorizing this woman on a bus in the middle of the night. I thought that would be really freaky. And then when I was like, okay, if I'm going to take my crack at a killer clown, what's he going to look like? And then at the time, Tim Curry's Pennywise was the most popular clown and the best, and arguably still is, of course. And he's so colorful and he speaks, and and I just wanted to go in the complete opposite direction. So I always say I have so much to thank that character for as to what Art the Clown became, especially visually.
All right, good stuff. All right, next person, name, who's it directed towards? Give us that question.
Directed to David. My name is Walter Cronkite, and I want to know questions. I have questions about the food at the Clown Cafe. We hear it's rotten. I'm only kidding. I just want to say something. I met these two young people last night. Wonderful, fantastic. The movie is outrageous. I love it. I spoke to you online through somebody else's panel. We were talking through comments a while back. And from Terrifier 1, before Terrifier 2 was released. And I mentioned it back then. I don't know if you realized at the time when you created an instant legend, an icon. One of the biggest reasons, not only, I'll get into detail, I'll try to do it as quick as possible, is because you two guys came up with something fresh. It's not a remake, it's not a reboot, this is somebody brand new, and that's what was needed. Yeah! And the practical special effects are off the charts, because that's what I grew up with, and that's what I've done in my lifetime for 40 years. So when I see that, it's excellent. And you, my friend, you are like a berserk version of the Three Stooges, all in one person. You're fantastic.
I want to know that comment here, and people are going to be in future cons and future panels. You're like, what's the most intense comment you've ever gotten? You want a compliment. I want to know that you're going to say that, because that's wild.
And that Clown Cafe, you nailed it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And you, stop playing with flamethrowers. Thank you for the entertainment.
Yes, thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to have to go into speed round here, just really in the essence of time. So coming up, let's get your question out. Let's get one question to one person. Let's make it quick. What you got? We want to make sure everybody gets their question answered. No more people in the line as well. The back person in the line right now is the last person. What's your name? Who's it directed towards? What's your question?
Okay, my name is Jamie, and my question is directed at Damien. With the first movie, you guys created an instant cult classic that just blew up. How does it feel, and did you expect for Terrifier 2 to become what's probably one of the most successful independent horror films in years?
Man, it's surreal. We're so grateful, so honored. Like I said before, I always really believed, when I made that first short film with Art the Clown, it wasn't like this big light bulb moment where I was like, ooh, that's Art the Clown, he's going to be what he is now. I just thought he was really cool and really creepy. I just really especially liked the way he looked, but he was only in that short film for a couple of minutes, and then everybody I showed that to was like, dude, you have to keep making more things with that character. He's so cool, he's so creepy, And then I was like, all right, and then I made another short film where I focused solely on him, and that's when I really started, fleshing him out, turning him into a slasher, and developing his sixth sense of humor. And that was the first time I had like an actual light bulb moment making Terrifier the short film. And I was like, wow, there really is something with this character, and I need to get him into a feature. So I felt that way the whole time we were making Terrifier. I knew there was something special there, and then when he took on the role, I was like, wow, now this is really amazing. It just felt like these magical things just kept happening. And then, I wrote this, I felt really confident writing
read the script for part 2, it came so naturally, so quick, so organic. I just felt really confident in what it was. Everybody responded to it very favorably, and we just believed in it, everything, and we just really liked the stuff we were getting, even though we went years. You know, it was supposed to take months, and it took years, but everybody just was on board, no matter what, no matter how hard, because we just loved what was, you know, what was happening, how it was looking on the monitor. It just looked so good. So, thanks.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Good question. Come on up here. What's your name? Who's it directed towards? What's the question?
Well, I can't really give my name because my question is for my niece and it's directed at Dave, Art the Clown. Kind of two questions. She wants to know, what is your favorite kill scene and why?
Ooh, that's hard. That's like choosing all my babies. Oh boy. I think it would probably be the alley kill now. I thought that was just such a monstrously creative kill, because it wasn't originally that way too in the script. COVID changed that, because we were filming when COVID put us into lockdown in New York, and it gave us more time to, especially Damien, to build all the prosthetics that we need for this. And so he was like, I got the time now. We don't know when we're going to go back shooting. I don't want to sit here and just, twiddle my thumbs. Let's go ahead and go back to the drawing board on this scene and also the opening scene with the coroner, and really, bat for the fences with this. And he just threw so much more into this kill scene. He threw two things into this kill scene that make me queasy. It's like anything with an eye and anything with an arm breaking gets me, because those are things I've experienced myself, and I know what that pain's like, and he threw both of those in there. And both times when we did that, I was like, filming. And when it gets me to have that effect, just while I'm doing it, to go, I know it's going to be good, and that was constantly happening during the scene. And it took us like 5 days to film this scene too, and we knew how epic it was going to be. And I have to give a whole lot of love to Casey, who played the role of Allie in this, because she went full throttle for this scene. 5 days straight, just screaming, yelling, all this, and she's such a quiet, reserved person in real life, and for her to just go crazy like that was just amazing. And she never complained. She literally got stuck to the ground one day because she had so much blood on her, and she was just having a blast, and we all had fun. And it turned out to be such an amazing kill scene, and that's why I love it so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, good stuff. Next person, you know the drill. What you got?
Hi, Gigi, my question's for Lauren. Sienna is such a badass character, and I wonder what it was like to be the one to really go toe-to-toe with Art the Clown, if there was any special preparation for that.
Preparation, there's a lot. I'm just the type of person, I have like a journal for all of my characters. I make decisions like what's their favorite color, what's their favorite song. It's just what I like to do as an actor. And Damien made a playlist for me because I asked him like, oh, what kind of music do you think Sienna would listen to? And he's like, here, I got you. And he just made me a whole playlist. It's still on my Spotify if people want to listen to it. It's really good. And yeah, I mean, I've been doing martial arts my entire life. I've been doing it for 20 years. And so I felt really ready to be physical in this role. And yeah, I was teaching kickboxing. I still do. And I was just preparing mentally every day for it. And I mean, what I wasn't expecting was having so much fun. I mean, being able to play opposite Elliott and Dave, they're just both phenomenal actors. And Damien's such a great director in that he really gives us the space to play. And if we have anything we want to try, he's like, yeah, totally, do it. So, I mean, I'm just incredibly honored to be able to be called, people are referring to Sienna as a final girl, and it's just a wild experience. And I'm just really honored. I don't really know what else to say. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, I thank my lucky stars every day. Thank you.
All right, looks like we got two more out here. What is your name? You know the drill. What you got?
Hi, I'm Wendy. My question is also for Lauren. You said in a video recently that it was important to you that to bring some queer representation to Sienna's character. So I was just wondering if you could say a little bit more about that, and if there's a possibility that that could be more fleshed out in your character in the third movie.
Yeah, it's funny. Damien and I have spoken about, Sienna's sexuality, like what he has his own thoughts, I have my own thoughts. In the end, it's up to him, but I feel like all of my characters has a secret, and I think that's what makes characters so interesting, when you can tell that there's something going on behind the eyes of the actor. So I'd like to think I bring that to every single one of my roles, like even the potentially straight characters. I'm like, no, she's a little queer. She's a little, you know, a little bit of that. But yeah, so I guess it'll be yet to be seen whether or not that does happen, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. That's what I have to say about that. Thank you for asking.
All right, here we go. We got, I guess, 2 more. So what you got? What's your name? What you got?
My name is Ed the Clown King. I don't have a question. I just want to say you guys are freaking amazing. We all love you, and I just want to give a round of applause.
Thanks, buddy. Good stuff. So you have 1 more? You got last question. What you got?
Bro. Hi. My question is for everybody, including you.
Sounds good.
Everybody's favorite color, 1 at a time, please.
Favorite color? Dude, I am a metalhead at heart. Obviously, it's black.
That's a shade.
Purple.
Nice.
Green.
All right.
Red.
Me too. Me too. Red's my
Red.
Nice.
Orange.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all very much.
That was intense to end on such a gripping, deep question. Yes. All right, so since most of that was directed to the 2 gentlemen in the middle, I'm going to go to the other 3 of you guys. Because their roles are obviously, they could go on for every single sequel. They could go on for as long as they want to be. For the 3 of you, your roles are most likely finite. What are you hoping to do outside of the Terrifier series to be able to springboard this success from Terrifier into your next role or into your next biggest role?
My goal is just to continue acting and doing music and acting and everything, art for the rest of my life. That is my absolute goal. So whether it's just doing auditions, movies, shows, I don't care. I will be there. Give me a time, give me a place, I'll be there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Same, man. I mean, yeah, I have a bunch of offers that I'm currently under NDA. I can't really talk about. Hopefully in quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 of 2023. And I just had a meeting with a wonderful director. I won't say his name, but he was asking if I was available for 2024. So listen, and this is all because, and I have Terrifier 2 to thank for that. I mean, yeah, I've been acting for about 5 years, but this has really changed my life in a lot of wonderful ways, and I have all of you to thank for that, for giving a shit. So thank you all for watching and being amazing.
And for me as an actor, I love horror films. I would love to be in more horror films. As a filmmaker, I want to bring more queer representation into the world. I have a film company, Late Bloomer Pictures, and that's sort of what we're striving to do, telling queer stories, showing people that queer people are people, and we have stories and full lives, and that's what I'm trying to do.
I gotta throw this out there too, because, you know, I hear someone now has taken over the DC universe and is changing things up, so I want to play a certain killer clown. Another guy. I want to put a smile on everyone's faces. So let's make that happen. What do you say?
That's awesome. All right, so hold your applause real quick, just so you guys remember the final schedule for the rest of the day. The costume contest, if you're going to sign up for it, you need to go back to the Spookala booth. Make sure you're there. Tim Capello is going to be playing here in a little bit. If you missed his performance yesterday, that thing was absolutely fun as heck. That was a great job. I thought it was so amazing. He's performing again today. If you're in the costume contest, you're going to go over here. My booth over here in Symmetry Creations is booth 22. We want you guys to kind of stage in the area right in front so we can get your names and all that, and make sure we let you guys know how the costume contest is going to work. But for now, I want to make sure you guys give the loudest applause, the biggest appreciation of the day for these guys right here, everybody from Terrifier 2. Let's